a seemingly insignificant thing. It was supposed to be just a stop in which we'll find clues to Ziggy's whereabouts. That is what I first thought of when the Lendard arc was said to be the next planet our crew is heading to. However, this arc just kept on expanding and expanding to the point where it now encapsulates all major characters in the story. It is not an exaggeration to say that this scale of an arc is befitting of a final arc in any shonen manga. In this video, I'll discuss my general thoughts about the Lendard arc and what transpired in the last 4 chapters, which is not much to be honest guys. Just to give you a hint, I really did like this arc. I do still like this arc, but there are some things about the arc I did not like at all. Maybe like is a strong word. Let's just say I did not appreciate at all. But that will come at a later point in the video. For now, let's talk about how Elsie narrowly escaped a definite death by Ziggy thanks to James or Justice. If you like this video and appreciate what I do here, then please do consider subscribing. Okay, enough of that. Elsie is the literal manifestation of the saying, you reap what you sow. Having not killed Ziggy when she had the chance at the end of the Aoi War arc, I can't help but feel that she deserves this ass whooping. That's not her only mistake though. She also did the very thing that she warned Shiki not to do at the beginning of the arc, which is hesitating to deliver the final blow. Ziggy decimated her for making that mistake, and that's all I'll say about that fight. Now, James coming to rescue Elsie is a thing I did see happening, but the reasoning for that is so cliche. I really don't know how to feel about it. Like, I did not like the reasoning behind that at all. Mashima needs to explore this storyline, or it will reach a point where no matter what he does, a backlash is the only feasible response I see here to their storyline. I say this because the frustration around these two characters is at an all-time high right now, so Mashima needs to address this storyline soon. One last thing I'll say about chapter 185 is that I really did like the power dynamic between Akinola and Ziggy. Hiro handled it brilliantly here, and at the end of this interaction, the reader's view of who is a greater threat to the crew became much vaguer than it is right now, which is a thing I really appreciated and thought it was nicely done by Hiro Mashima. Moving on to something contradictory, let's talk about the Colosseum storyline and the 1v1s. I really loved this a lot as a fan, but not so much as a critic, and here is why. Let's talk about the positive first, and let me tell you why I loved this, because it's always fun to hear someone talk about a thing they love, right? So the 4 Dark Stars versus our main cast, what could be more exciting than this? I really liked how the matchups fit so well, narratively speaking. For Rise, who is close to Hermit, he gets to face her counterpart, Killer. For Homura, who is the new Valkyrie, she is matched with her counterpart, Burgundyne. For Rebecca, and it's a bit of a stretch here, but since Sister has an uncanny obsession about her, which is kind of creepy by the way, she's been faced by Clown, Sister's counterpart. See why Shiki is matched up against Wizard. Well, it's obvious at this point, right? So you see, this is why I love these matchups. It's not random, it has an emotional weight, which is always good when it comes to fights, because a fight devoid of any meaning is the worst thing to witness. I love how the matchups carry weight and that everything is set up there for a reason. So the question is, what do I not like? Well, first of all, it's so repetitive and cliche. The main cast faces the subordinates of the villain 1v1 at isolated locations. We have seen this scenario a lot, like we've seen it a lot. I say this because this Lendard arc has been extraordinary. It's like every turn something unique takes place. So why are we defaulting to this comfy space hero? This is not the only reason for my dislike though. towards this development. I really feel that if the 4 dark stars get defeated here, then it's a massive disappointment. It's the same disappointment that kept on happening with every faction under each major villain. Oceans with Nero, Elementals with Draken, and whatever those trio fucks were called who were under Madame Kurenai, man. This is so annoying. I do not wish to see the same thing happen to the Dark Stars, not when they carry this much weight and importance to the overall story. I believe there were some better options from these 1v1s. I do not know what they are, but I believe Hero has the ability, not had, but has the ability to concoct some gripping storytelling like he continuously does with Eden Zero without defaulting to this shonen cliche. Okay, enough negativity. Let's talk about Shiki versus Wizard. Now, as I said, just because I did not appreciate how these storylines unfolded does not mean I don't like what I'm seeing. In fact, I absolutely love the Shiki versus Wizard fight. But before I go into that, I feel like I have to preface my take on the fight with this little discussion between the 4 dark stars and our main cast. The good old Eden Zero question pops up again. Do machines have hearts? But here this serves as some sort of a foreshadowing to their eventual downfall, or at least that's how I see it. Now, the 1v1s begin with each matchup having their own unique place to fight thanks to that landscape plugin thingy. Let's now talk about Shiki versus Wizard and how I feel about the fight. How the fight started was really well done by Hiro because it serves two things: highlight the losses Shiki has incurred throughout the story and showcase how mature and level-headed Shiki has become compared to how he was before the time skip. And also one more thing, it could be insignificant, however this particular line here stuck with me. I don't know why, and I currently have no idea why do I feel that the way I do about this line. Moving on though, as I said, Shiki is not the same naive person he was, that these little tricks would work on him. Even when confronted with which, he still moves forward and not cling on the bygones. I really do love this showcase of Shiki's mental growth. Obviously, Wizard gives a different take on this growth within Shiki. He says that supposed heart of his, which made Wizard's illusion have no effect whatsoever on him, is not so because of his unwavering conviction to move forward, but because his heart is bending towards darkness, which is an established plot point within Shiki's storyline. So I guess his statement does hold some weight after all. Wizard starts attacking Shiki, and at the same time he explains the concept of the dark stars being counterparts of the 4 shining stars, which I explained earlier. Now, what is interesting is that Wizard here, this slick looking boy, supposedly wields magic, which is just a different label of naming his power, I think. Essentially, he can use all types of elemental ether. Well, not all, but the common 4. He unleashes a myriads of attacks on Shiki until eventually Shiki is forced to use his overdrive. Now, Shiki was handling himself just fine, offensively speaking, before he transformed. What drove him to use his overdrive, I think, is his need to be able to protect himself from the constant bombardment of attacks from Wizard. I guess this is the first time we have seen Shiki's overdrive after the time skip in action. I still find the concept of overdrives confusing, like what Wizard says after Shiki's transformation even adds more to this confusion. Like, I really am having a hard time grasping this concept of overdrives. He's saying that what he's seeing right now contradicts their data, meaning Shiki should not have overdrive. Now, why does someone like Wizard, one of the dark stars, not expect an Orician Seas Galactica to have an overdrive? what is going on exactly? I really think Hiro needs to tackle the overdrive concept and define what it is exactly. Obviously, there is merit to keep a power system ambiguous because you can do whatever you want with it that way. You are not restricted as a writer by the rules you yourself came up with. So Shiki, having used his overdrive, unleashes a meteor breaker, but Wizard siphons all of Shiki's ether, draining him of his overdrive, all thanks to Hiro keeping the power system ambiguous. Wizard can do whatever the fuck he wants. He basically absorbs any ether unleashed on him. Now, is that part of his magic, as he said, or is it an ability built into him by Ziggy? That we will never know, probably. So a very crucial thing occurs here. Shiki once again unconsciously makes his opponent's memories fall into him. However, these memories seem impossible. It would mean that Wizard and Witch knew each other, which is unbelievable to me, by the way. What's interesting though is that Wizard himself did not know of this memory, and the plot point of Ziggy erasing the Shining Star's memories is brought up once again. Did Ziggy also erase the Dark Star's memories? Did the Dark Stars even exist 18 years ago? Why did Ziggy erase their memories? All these questions and more are brought up, and what I like here is Shiki is actually connecting the dots himself and comes up with his own hypothesis, and this is a thing that I really loved. Like, I really loved seeing Shiki being smart and not being a complete dummy. Shiki then says his infamous line of wanting to become friends with his enemy, all the more now that he learned of this buried memory. Shiki's hypothesis is as follows, and it's pretty logical. This memory wipe event happened when Ziggy was still, our old Ziggy. This is the crux of Shiki's theory. Basically, Shiki says that maybe Ziggy knew that he was going to go crazy. That's why he did what he did. But this also means to us, the viewers, that maybe Ziggy knew something else entirely. Whichever it is, now the seed is there. The memory wipe event is now more important than ever before. While Shiki is thinking of all of this, he casually one-shots Wizard, which is pretty badass and funny at the same time. And to add insult to injury, Shiki reveals that he was only using a 10th of his power. Now, if I was Wizard, I would literally bury myself there, acting all high and mighty when Shiki was not even considering him as a threat. This once again shows Shiki's calculating personality, and it's a thing that I absolutely love, and he's not a complete dummy. This is what I want of my MC. He knows that he is going to fight Ziggy, and so why waste energy on some small fry like Wizard? It's so funny. The fight was okay. Nothing crazy, but I did enjoy the dialogue in this fight more than the action itself. I would like to talk about Rebecca's fight, but the video is already too long and the fight is not over, so I can't really formulate an opinion yet. So that's that. Before I end this video, I'll just say this. This arc is going way too fast. It's unnatural. It's not like it's getting rushed or anything. I feel like a lot of details and viewpoints are being omitted, which for me indicate one possible reason for it. A time leap is going to happen soon. We are redoing this arc the same way we did the Belial Gore arc. I'm not 100% sure of it, but I'm calling it now. Anyways, this has been Moni, and if you liked the video, please do consider subscribing. And I'm sorry again for the absence of uploads recently. I just did not have a good machine with me to edit with. But for now, we should be A-okay. So please do look forward to the next video, which should be a fairy tale video if all goes well. Anyways, bye.